Hello, today I'm looking at Majjhima number 86, which is the Angulimala Sutta, translated as on Angulimala. So the location is Savatthi in Jetta's Grove, Anathapindika's Park. And the main people mentioned are Buddha, a person called Angulimala, and the local king, who's called King Pasenadi. And the sutta begins, now at this time there was a bandit in the realm of Kosala named Angulimala. He was murderous, violent and merciless. Those he murdered, he wore their fingers as a garland. So he's got a necklace of fingers by the sound of it. Now, after the morning's alms round in Savatthi, Buddha set out on the road leading towards Angulimala. On the way, the people who met him on the road warned Buddha against continuing towards Angulimala, for Angulimala was murderous, violent and merciless. But the Buddha continued on in silence. When the bandit Angulimala saw Buddha approaching, he was delighted, for Angulimala was used to fighting and subduing groups of 10, 20, 30 or even 40 people. This solitary monk would be easy meat. So Angulimala took up his sword and shield, bow and quiver, and followed close behind Buddha. But even though Buddha was only walking at a normal pace, Angulimala could not catch him up, which was bizarre to Angulimala. So he shouted out, "Stop, recluse, stop." Buddha replies, "I have stopped. You stop too." But in fact, Buddha is still walking, which puzzles Angulimala, for recluses are known to always tell the truth. So why is he still walking? It says he's stopped. So Angulimala addresses Buddha, and it's in verse form, but I won't repeat that. "While you are walking, recluse, you tell me you have stopped. And now I have stopped, you say I have not stopped. How is it that you have stopped and I have not stopped?" So Buddha replies, "Angulimala, I have stopped forever. I abstain from violence to living beings, but you have no restraint towards things that live. That is why I have stopped, and you have not stopped." Realizing at this point that this recluse, this venerated sage, has come to this place for Angulimala's sake, he says to Buddha, "If you teach me the Dhamma, I will renounce evil forever." So he will give up his ways. At this, Angulimala threw away his sword and weapons, worshipped at the Blessed One's feet, and asked for the going forth into homelessness. Buddha accepted, and so Angulimala became a bhikkhu, or a monk. Now the pair returned to Savatthi in Jetta's Grove to live. But the local people objected, declaring how could this murderer live amongst them, and they went to King Pasenadi, imploring the king to put down the murderer. So with 500 troops, King Pasenadi proceeded to Savatthi to meet Buddha, where he states that he has come to the park to put Angulimala down. Buddha responds, but what if Angulimala is now clean-shaven, has put on the yellow robes, and follows the precepts of no killing, no thieving, no lying, and so on, that he eats only one meal per day, is celibate, virtuous, and of good character? How then would you treat him, O king? Why, replies the king, we would pay him homage, offer him robes, food and medicines, a resting place. But how could such an evil, immoral man ever have such virtue and restraint? In fact, during this conversation, Angulimala was seated not far away, and Buddha introduces him to the king. Initially, the king is alarmed and terrified. Buddha says, "There is nothing to be frightened of," and the king's fear and terror subsides. And the king then addresses Angulimala, asks about his background, to which Angulimala replies that he is the son of a Gaga and his mother is a Mantani. So the king says, "Let the noble Lord Gaga Mantani Putta," so that's Angulimala's full name, so it's Putta, which is son, and his father's Gaga, mother Mantani, so it's Gaga Mantani Putta. So in fact, the name Angulimala is a sobriquet or nickname, whatever, and it means Anguli means a garland, and and Mala means fingers, or vice versa, one of the two. So basically, he's known as the one with the garland of fingers. So anyway, sorry, carry on. So let the noble Lord Gaga Mantani Putta rest content, the king says. I shall provide robes, alms food, and a resting place, and medicinal requisites, which is the basics that monks carry with them. But Angulimala replies that as a forest dweller, an alms food eater, a refuse rag wearer, he has everything he needs. At this, King Pasenadi congratulates Buddha on taming the untamed, bringing peace to the unpeaceful, something that he, the king, was unable to do with force and weapons. The king then departed. The following day, Angulimala went into Savatthi for alms, and in his wandering from house to house, came upon a woman who was having great difficulty giving birth. Angulimala is troubled by this, and on his return to Buddha, relates of the woman, how difficult her difficulties, and how he, Angulimala, realizes how beings are badly afflicted. Buddha tells Angulimala to return to Savatthi, to tell the woman this: "Sister, since I was born, I do not recall ever intentionally depriving a living being of life. By this truth, may you be well, and may your infant be well." Angulimala objects, "But I would be lying, for I have intentionally deprived many living beings of life." So Buddha replies, "Go into Savatthi and say to the woman, 'Sister, since I was born with noble birth, I do not recall that I have ever intentionally deprived a living being of life. By this truth, may you be well, and may your infant be well." Which Angulimala proceeded to do, and the woman and infant became well. Following this, before long, Angulimala with direct knowledge became an arahant, no more coming into this state of being. But on one occasion later on, whilst on alms round in Savatthi, someone threw a clod of dirt at him, another threw a stick, someone else a broken clay pot. So Angulimala returned to where the Buddha was residing, his robes torn, his alms bowl broken, and bleeding from cuts on his head, which on seeing him, Buddha says, "Put up with it, Angulimala. You are experiencing in the here and now the results of your deeds, because of which you might have been tortured in hell for many thousands of years." So by way of exculpation, Angulimala recites a poem praising Buddha and the Dhamma. So I can't really summarise it, but I'll read it out. So just turning to the book. So Angulimala says, who once did live in negligence and then is negligent no more, he illuminates this world like the moon freed from a cloud. Who checks the evil deeds he did by doing wholesome deeds instead, he illuminates this world like the moon freed from a cloud. The youthful bhikkhu who devotes his efforts to the Buddha's teaching, he illuminates the world like the moon freed from a cloud. Let my enemies hear discourse on the Dhamma. Let them be devoted to the Buddha's teaching. Let my enemies wait on those good people who lead others to accept the Dhamma. Let my enemies give ear from time to time and hear the Dhamma of those who preach forbearance, of those who speak as well in praise of kindness, and let them follow up with kind deeds. For surely then they would wish not to harm me, nor would they think of harming other beings. So those who protect all, frail or strong, let them attain the all-surpassing peace. Ditch makers guide the water. Fletchers straighten out the arrow shaft. Carpenters straighten out the timber. But wise men seek to tame themselves. There are some that tame with beatings, some with goads, and some with whips. But I was tamed by such a one who has no rod nor any weapon. Harmless is the name I bear, though I was dangerous in the past. The name I bear today is true. I hurt no living being at all. And though I once lived as a bandit, known to all as Finger Garland, one whom the great flood swept along, I went for refuge to the Buddha. And though I was once bloody-handed with the name of Finger Garland, see the refuge I have found, the bond of being has been cut. While I did many deeds that lead to rebirth in the evil realms, yet their result has reached me now, and so I eat free from debt. They are fools and have no sense who give themselves to negligence, but those of wisdom guard diligence and treat it as their greatest and treat it as their greatest good. Do not give way to negligence, nor seek delight in sensual pleasures, but meditate with diligence so as to reach the perfect bliss. So welcome to that choice of mine, and let it stand. It was not ill-made. Of all the teachings resorted to, I have come to the very best. So welcome to that choice of mine, and let it stand. It was not ill-made. I have attained the triple knowledge and done all that the Buddha teaches. And so ends Sutta number 86, the Angulimala Sutta. Thanks for watching.